period. 2020, August 30th, 1458 p.m. It was designed to reflect the Narmer monolith and Pharaoh Narmer and Egypt, which the Narmer monolith was the basic outline structure of why the pyramids were laid out in the groupings of pyramids that it was laid out in, as well as the other cities of pillars, which there's about 50 of them, and it is also designed to reflect the applications and designs of King Solomon's Temple and the Capitoline Hill, which interesting enough, based on the times they were built, and for basically the intent of they were built, those two structures were mirrors of each other, which brings up some very interesting Masonic aspects. That if the Temple of Solomon and the Capitoline Hill were semi-mirrors of each other, or copies of each other, that brings up some very interesting ideas regarding the Temple of Tyre, which is where the guy who did the designer of King Solomon's Temple, he was chief architect and chief maintenance officer of the Temple of Tyre, he came to Levant lands in the newly renamed Jerusalem. After the name used to be, before King David conquered the city, it used to be called Jupiter. No coincidence whatsoever in this situation. Capitoline Hill, Temple of Jupiter. By the way, when Mark chapter 13 directly mentions this, but other gospels semi-mention, hint at it, that Jesus directed his disciples right before they left Levant lands to dismantle King Solomon's Temple, ship it to Rome, and reassemble it where the Colosseum is now. Period. Shipping that temple and reassembling it where the Colosseum is now. In fact, the Colosseum is mostly made out of those materials. It was the Domus Aurea before, made by Nero. There's a whole huge story, gigantically complicated story right in that, but that's not the point. That's not what we're specifically talking about. Although the same exact behavior patterns from Emperor Nero, aka the evil priest Paul, play out in Colorado Springs, because in effect General Palmer and Margaret Davis Hayes played the parts of Paul and his disciple and his people as they attacked the Jesus, Simon Peter, and their original ministry. They attacked mercilessly, same as General Palmer and Margaret Davis Hayes and her Confederates mercilessly attacked anyone who in Colorado Springs in the metro area who questioned their theocratic authority over the area, which becomes really, really funky when you add the Bancroft Park, the Bancroft School, that building that before it was called Bancroft School and before it was sitting in Bancroft Park, because there's a whole huge gigantic amount of information regarding in that building was very, very likely copy number 2 or one of a series of copies of Versailles, designed and built by Leonardo da Vinci in the 1460s period. A whole massive amount of complicated gearing, different subjects, each subject being a gear. There's lots and lots of complicated transmission stuff going on with many gears working together, working toward directing power in one direction, directing power in another direction, and directing power all kinds of different directions. Very, very complicated stuff. But watch the behavior patterns as to what's going on and why some of the people are doing what they're doing.